If you think the secret to trading is finding the perfect strategy, that's the exact lie that cost me 7 years and my first trading account. I know that feeling because I spent years as a strategy collector. I lost money on dozens of systems, all while working a draining banking job, making tired, sloppy trades at midnight, and feeling like a complete failure. But that failure was the price I paid to learn the single mistake that keeps most traders broke. And in this video, I'm giving you the exact framework that turns you from a frustrated strategy collector in trading into a calm, methodical process architect in trading. You'll get my simple 3-step action plan to build unshakable confidence in any strategy, how to build a portfolio that's never hostage to any one market, and the key to turning your lack of time into your greatest weapon. This is how you stop gambling and start building a real sustainable skill. So let's get straight to it. The first step is to build a real data-driven confidence in any strategy. But how? By learning how to stop taking ideas on blind faith and instead putting them on trial. Most traders, and this was me for years, learn a strategy from a guru and just hope it works. That is a recipe for disaster. So I'm going to show you how I went from being a hopeful believer to a cold, hard interrogator of my own strategies. Have you ever thought this? My mentor is a genius. If he says this works, I'll trade with my real money tomorrow. Because for years, I followed a mentor whose advice I really respected. He taught that looking at all price charts was flawed because you'd always fool yourself into seeing the perfect trade after the fact. So for about 5 years, I just avoided it, trusting that his strategies would just work. But my results? A frustrating roller coaster. Some good months, then some terrible months. Finally, around August of 2021, I had enough. I decided to break the rule and test his strategies for myself. I spent weeks manually going back through years of charts, logging every single trade according to his rules. It was tedious, but what I found was shocking. Some of his strategies were rock solid, but others, they had absolutely no statistical edge. Some were even consistent losers. And that was the breakthrough for me. It doesn't matter if advice comes from a trading legend or your next door neighbor. You have to verify it for yourself. My confidence would not come from a person. It had to come from my own data. This is what I call the flight simulator test. You never let a new pilot fly a real 747 aeroplane full of passengers without them first proving they can handle any storm in a simulator. Back testing is your flight simulator. You throw every imaginable crisis at your strategy in that simulator, every single one. And only if it lands safely, again and again, do you trust it with your real money. You need to start thinking like this. My mentor's idea is interesting. I'll backtest it over 30 trades to verify the data before I risk a single dollar. And that's how I developed the first step of the plan, a tool I call the strategy interrogation method. You are no longer asking, is this a good strategy? You are asking, has this strategy survived my interrogation? Here's the simple 4-step process you can use today. First, define the rules. Write down the exact non-negotiable rules for entry, for stop loss, and for your take profit. No gray areas. Second, go back in time. Pick a market and go back at least 4 years on the daily chart time frame. Third, hunt for entry setups. Scroll forward bar by bar and log every single signal that meets your rules in a spreadsheet. And get at least 30 trades. Number 4, analyze the data. Now look at the results. What's your win rate? What's your average win versus your average loss in dollars? Does it have a positive expectancy? Simply, did it make money? This process is a game changer. Your confidence is now built on hard evidence, not on someone else's hype. And this process is the first crucial step. But after mentoring hundreds of traders just like you, I found that Sometimes, even a proven strategy can fail if there's a different hidden error in your approach. So, what if the root cause of your losses is not the strategy at all? I created a new way to diagnose this. It's fast, it's free, and it reveals your real trading bottleneck in just 3 minutes. Click the link in the description to find out if the real reason you're losing money is the one you least expect. Now, once you've diagnosed your real bottleneck and have a proven strategy, you face a new hidden trap. So you've interrogated a strategy and proven it has an edge. You feel amazing. So you start trading it and it works. But then the market changes. Your one trick stops working. The setups dry up, you get frustrated, and you start forcing trades. And your profits suddenly disappear. Relying on one market is a trap. It's the fast track back to that feeling of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You might think, my forex strategy is not working anymore. This market is broken. I'll give up for now. For the first 7 years, my ego was tied in being a forex trader. That was my identity. But I'd hit these painful periods where the currency markets were just dead quiet for months. It was incredibly frustrating because I knew I had an edge, but the market was just not giving me any opportunities to use it. My pride in being a specialist was actually costing me money. Then, around 2020, I had a breakthrough. I started testing my process, the same rules, on other asset classes. I looked at commodities like gold and stock indices like the Nasdaq. At first, it felt uncomfortable. I was a forex guy, but the data from my backtesting was undeniable. My process worked on these other markets too. Think of it like building a sports team. Instead of relying on one superstar who can have an off-season, you build a small, balanced team where different players can step up when others are struggling. You are a specialist, but in your process. Your process is the playbook, and you can teach it to players on different fields. The right mindset earlier would have been, forex is quiet this month, let me run my scan on gold and the Nasdaq to see if my process has a valid setup there. And this brings us to step 2 of the plan. Build your all-weather portfolio. The goal is to create a smoother, more consistent stream of opportunities by having multiple markets ready to trade that don't always move in the same direction. You build a small team of 3 to 5 proven strategies, each for a different market, like one for currencies, one for stocks. This simple step ends the frustration of your main strategy going cold. Now, when the currency market is quiet, the stock market might be trending beautifully, so that you always have a game to play. Once you have your first interrogated strategy, take that exact method and apply it to a different market, a different asset class. If you've proven a strategy on the pound against the dollar, go test it on oil or on the Apple stock. This creates the robustness that lets you sleep at night. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Dennis, this sounds like a lot of work. I have a demanding job, a family, I only have 30 minutes a day. Well, here's the final piece of the puzzle. Your lack of time is not a weakness. It is your single greatest strategic advantage. Listen to this. What are the biggest mistakes that kill trading accounts? Overtrading, staring at charts and meddling with your trades, getting sucked into low time frame noise. Now, what does a severe lack of time prevent you from doing? All of those things. Most traders see their busy schedule as a curse, but I'm going to show you how to turn it into your most powerful weapon. You'll stop thinking like me, I need to stay up until midnight to watch the market open and catch every move, even if I'm exhausted. Because I learned this lesson the hard way, and frankly, it was just embarrassing. There was an 8-month period between 2018 and 2019 where my ego told me I had to trade the US Open, so I forced myself to stay up until midnight after my exhausting banking job. My trading analysis was sloppy, I broke my own rules because I was just too tired to care. That short period of trading on pure fatigue cost me 17% of my account. A painful, expensive lesson in just how critical being alert is. I realized my lack of time was not the problem. My misuse of time was. By trying to force my life to fit the market, I was sabotaging myself. The solution was to build a system that fits my life. I became a better trader because my job gave me no time to mess up with my trades during the day. It forced me to be ruthlessly efficient. It demanded a simple, rules-based process that could be executed quickly. So instead, I started thinking, I have 30 minutes before work. I will run my scan, place my orders, and shut everything down. My plan does the work now. And this leads us to the third step, the 30-minute execution filter. This is the daily system that turns your lack of time from a weakness into a strategic advantage. It makes disciplined, stress-free trading natural. Here's the entire process. Your plan for each day. First, 15 minutes for scanning. Open your charts and scan your small team of markets. You are like a hunter looking for only one thing, an A+ entry setup that perfectly matches your rules. If you don't see one, your work is done. Close the laptop and go away. Second, 10 minutes of execution. If you find a valid entry setup, use a position sizing calculator to determine your correct risk and trade order size. You place your pending order with your preset stop loss and take profit. Then third, 5 minutes for journaling. You log in the trade that you just planned into your trading journal. And then here's the most important part. You shut it all down and you walk away. You go to work, you live your life, you've done your job. Now you let the plan do its job. And walking away, that's the action that builds discipline. It protects your focus, it protects your process, and it protects your capital. So now you have the complete 3-step framework to become a process architect as a trader. But the next logical question is, how do you apply this every single morning without getting overwhelmed? So check out this video next, where I share the exact click-by-click part-time trading checklist that I used every day to execute this plan in under 30 minutes. See you in that video.